Welcome to Virtual Wholesaling Ninjas, the place for real estate investors who want to learn how to make a fortune in real estate, even if now you are broke. Hear not only from beginners, but also experts who have made millions wholesaling real estate both in their backyards and virtually. With your host, Kenneth Dusang. Be sure to follow Kenneth on Instagram at Kenneth Dusang and join the Ninja Nation Facebook group at Virtual Wholesaling Ninjas. Let's listen in to this Ninjas interview.
This is Kenneth with Virtual Wholesaling Ninjas. We got our special guest today, Mario out of Miami. How you doing, Mario?
Pretty good. Can't complain, man. Excited to be on here. Seeing what this all about.
Yeah, man. It's exciting times going on, man. Some exciting times. So you're out of the Miami area, right? How's the weather over there?
Well, today, as you can maybe tell outside, it's rainy. It's deciding to rain and be a gloomy day. But overall, it's not that bad. The weather, it's a little chilly for us, you know, in the high 60s, maybe low 70s, which is a little chilly, believe it or not, for us. I know for people up north it's not. But the weather's okay. Not that great, but it's okay.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I was just out in Miami it's been about a week and a half ago. Was out there. I was actually wearing a big jacket here in Iowa. When I got on the plane, when I got to Miami, I had to go to the nearest store and find a pair of shorts, man. It's so hot out there, but I love it. I love it. So, Mario, what we want to do is talk to you a little bit about your background. Where do you come from, man? What is your background as far as what you've done for work in the past?
Okay, well, I've done it all until the age of about 19. I've worked at a party store, when I was obviously younger, worked at a supermarket. I worked selling stuff, selling like car stereos, selling shoes. I've done it all. But at 19, I actually was hired by the Department of Corrections. I was a corrections officer. Yeah, I was a corrections officer for about I want to say about 6 years.
Wow.
And then I want to say transferred because it's not really a transfer, but I went into police work. I went ahead and got certified through the academy, and then I got hired by a police department down here, and I was a police officer for about 7 years, and just last year in November, I resigned to do full-time wholesaling.
Wow, man. Wow. So our backgrounds are pretty similar, man. I actually worked for the Department of Corrections as well for about 5.5 years over in Rayford,
Wow.
Florida. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, I got tired of the work, man. You know how it is. It's easy work, but you just get tired of dealing with the same old stuff every day, getting cussed out and etc., And
DOC.
Yeah,
DOC
man.
babies.
Heck yeah, man. So I got into the same thing, man, wholesaling. So I mean, what got you interested in real estate?
Well, I was always interested. I own a rental property that was originally my property, and me and my wife's plan was to, buy a bunch of rentals and then retire and sell them all and have a couple million in the bank. Wholesaling in itself, I was just going through, searching Facebook like everybody does. And I came across one of, a mentor or a coaching program. I said, this is kind of my way in or my ticket in to get more, into real estate investing. And then I looked into wholesaling, and wholesaling was, something that gave me interest. So I was like, you know what, let me try wholesaling and see what it's about. And then I just, fell in love with it. And I saw it as a way to gain capital to be able to go ahead and buy those rental properties. And that's what kind of currently working on.
Wow, man, that's pretty awesome, dude. That's pretty awesome. So I know you're crushing it out there in Miami, man. Maybe you can give us a little details on some deals you've done recently.
Well, recently, you know, I have I've had several deals this year. So far, this year hasn't been booming, but I'm still building. My business. I have a cold caller. I have an admin assistant, and I also have a lead manager. That they all have their specific duties and jobs what they have to do. So I
Awesome.
haven't like I want to like killing it, but I've definitely got a couple deals already closed this year, netting about close to 50,000.
Wow.
Uh, so it's been good. I have to say I'm blessed. Awesome. Besides, obviously the fact that I decided to literally retire early, if you want to call it, or resign November 9th to do it full time. And then I got a couple deals in the pipeline now that are closing, and I'm looking to, go ahead and get some contracts in with some good numbers. But a specific deal I would like to talk about is one that came through a cold calling, absentee owners. That's how we all pretty much start, type of thing.
Yeah.
Looking for tired landlords. I met a tired landlord over the phone. I never physically saw her. She lives in Georgia. Contacted her, gave me the address. She was tired of dealing with the property. Her her son's mother-in-law lived in the property, and they were renting it kind of only for what the mortgage was being paid for. So she wasn't making any money out of it, but she was dealing with all the headaches
Right.
of the city and violations and repairs. So it was a big issue initially because the tenants didn't want to let me in the house to see it or even take pictures or even take any of the partners I work with, the buyers.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of like just to give you a quick story, not to make it too long. I ended up finally getting in contact with the tenant and setting up a time to go see it, but they were still so reluctant because they didn't want it to get sold. They wanted to buy it, but the owner was telling me they weren't making any moves to buy it. And finally get in contact with the tenant. Finally, I use my how to win friends and influence people tactics, or just build a rapport with them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I went to the property when I was supposed to go schedule time, I'm knocking on the fence because the fence is like literally like chained up. You can't go inside the property. Knocking on the fence, and then I call the tenant. And the tenant's like, "Oh no, I'm not here. I'm in the hospital, XYZ." And it ends up happening that I hear her talking to me while she's talking to me on the phone. I hear her, and I kind of follow the voice, and she's in the backyard talking to me on the phone, telling me she's in the hospital, that she can't come to the door, and this and that, and we have to do it another day. But once again, they were reluctant, and I knew that. So I literally just hung up the phone and I said her name. "Hey, Miss such and such." She just ran back inside the house and then finally came out. I was like, "Oh no, I was in the hospital." Showed me like an armband and stuff. I was like, "Listen, I just need to come and see the property, okay? If it doesn't work like that, unfortunately, you guys are going to get evicted. I'm not looking to evict you. I'm just looking to see the property so we can get this transaction closed because it's going to happen. It's going to happen." So finally, I closed. I went in, took the pictures, spoke to my buyers. Finally, I got one that wanted it. It was I contracted it for 140, sold it for 160, and made a 20K profit on there.
Wow.
And I got it done. Finally, it was a little bit of a headache, but finally got it done. So yeah, that was one of my most recent deals to kind of I guess what you call it, kind of talk about. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome, man. So what would you say from the time you contacted the owner to the time you actually closed the deal? What kind of time frame was that?
From the time frame, I would say it was maybe about a month and a half or so.
Wow. So in a month and a half, you made $20,000, dude. That is insane.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Month and a half. Yeah, $20,000 month and a half. Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens, man, when you persevere through, tenants that don't want to let you see the property, and you keep pushing, you keep doing what you have to do to help that owner out, and you get rewarded for it, man. That's $20,000. That's crazy. Working in DOC, man, you know how it is. That's
yes.
That's more money than we would have made, in 7 months at DOC, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And the greatest part about it, and the greatest part about it is that afterwards, the owner was like, "Oh my God, thank you for helping me out of this. I don't know what I was gonna do with those people, And initially, she wanted like 170, 180. But before I got it down to the 140, all I did was follow up,
Wow.
build rapport, talk to her, back and forth, build rapport. And finally, she was like, "You know what? I'm gonna just do it because I want to get this thing over with." XYZ. Her big concern was what's gonna happen with the tenants, because she wasn't in good terms with them, but she didn't just want to put them out on the street.
Yeah.
So, I obviously have buyers I work with that, do take tenants, and, they work with them or whatever it is that needs to be done. So
yeah.
it worked out. Definitely worked out.
That's crazy, man. I just can't believe that's $20,000, dude, just for a month and a half. Like, I'm still, it's still, I just can't understand. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Because I remember working with DOC, man. I remember, if you remember, DOC was like, their pay period was like 28 days or something like that. So I remember killing myself, going to work every single day, volunteering for overtime just to try to make an extra $3 or $4 grand a month, working 60 plus hours of overtime. And dude, you did this.
Yep.
You did this in probably the same amount of time it would take to do a whole pay period at the state prison. You like quadrupled that. That's crazy. That's awesome.
The state prison, when I started, the starting was like at 33,000.
Yeah.
So literally, I made over, over 6 months, 7 months salary in the month and a half. So I'm always the one to be pushing myself a lot more. So I don't even see that as wow. I see that as, okay, it's good. I got the deal done. Now let's move on. Let's go on to the next one. Let's find the next 20, 30, 40, 50K deal. What I'm saying? That's my mindset. It's not, okay, I made 20 grand. That's awesome. Let's party and celebrate. No, we need to find the next one, because, we need to keep this thing rolling. But definitely it worked out. That deal didn't have, even though the tenants were a little bit having an issue, that deal didn't have what I call much hair on it, much issues on it.
Yeah.
But there's been others that's just been ridiculously crazy, but they've come through. But 20 grand was definitely a good payday to reinvest into the marketing to make more 20 grand deals.
Yeah, man, you're definitely an example of what perseverance and continuing to push, trying to get a deal, especially when dealing with these type of tenants, because a lot of people don't realize these deals with these type of tenants are going to happen frequently. And getting good at being consistent and persevering through these tenants is really gonna get you paid really, really well if you stick to it. So that's awesome, man. So I know you're crushing it in Miami. Where do you plan to take your business? In the next couple years, where you plan to be at?
Well, my plan as of right now, I want to say within the next year, is actually have maybe one more lead manager, have at least one more acquisitions person, because I'm the only acquisitions person now. I go meet the sellers, I negotiate with them. The only thing the lead manager does is just gather the information and qualify if they were to be, the way I do it is either a prospect or a suspect. A prospect is someone that has some motivation, has the properties or some sort of distress and stuff like that. Then the suspects are people that are just looking for offers, or just not really have anything. So maybe one more lead manager, and an acquisitions guy, and kind of have a well-oiled machine with all the processes and systems in place. That's what I do Monday through Friday. I would say I work heavily calling and negotiating and stuff like that. Good that I don't do the cold calling, or I don't do the the initial contact with the sellers to see if, what is their interest level, what is the motivation level. But I still do a lot of follow-ups of prospects, prospect leads, and some suspects depending on the situation. But it's just pretty much to have a well-oiled machine, a well-oiled team, which once again, another acquisitions, dispositions person, a transaction manager that handles all the title stuff and all of this and all of that, which is a lot of stuff that puts stuff on. It's a lot that puts stuff on my plate that takes away time from me to reaching out to more sellers and following up on more sellers, which is where the real money is made. Talking to new sellers that are looking to sell. So just pretty much have a well-oiled machine. Right now, everything is remotely. Everyone's doing their stuff in their home, like my cold caller and my admin VA and my leads manager. But ultimately, I also want to have within the next year have an office with the people there, where we can have a good atmosphere and just kind of have in summary, a well-oiled machine.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I want everybody listening. I know that the group that I have and what I mainly do is all virtual, but I think with every deal and every situation, as far as every deal is going to be unique, and every deal is going to have traits and different things about it that can translate over on the virtual side. So everybody listening, I want you to re-listen to this interview and think of ways that you can replicate this same deal and do it in a way where you can do it virtual. Every interview we have on this podcast is not always going to be a virtual deal, but every deal that we listen to and we have on this interview is going to definitely have things about it that you can do, take tidbits out of and use it in your virtual business if that's the route you're wanting to go. But anyways, and, Mario, yeah, go ahead.
Just to add to that, if you don't mind me cutting off, just to add a little bit for the listeners and your virtual wholesaling followers. This deal that I'm telling you about, I never went to see the property prior to putting it under contract. Like, I put it under contract without going to see it. When I first started the business, I was very drilled in and taught, go meet with the seller, be belly to belly, build that rapport face to face. And there's a certain level of understanding to that. There definitely is, because I've proven it. But you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to be right then and there. You don't have to be in the mix. If you are good with building rapport and talking to people and genuinely being interested and listening to them and interested in what they got going on or what they're saying or what they're feeling, and you show genuine interest and you build that rapport, whether you get the deal on the first call, the second, third, fourth, 10th, the 100th call, you can do it. I never went to see the property. I knew my numbers because I obviously did my comps, knew the area, knew the repair cost per what she told me, the owner, and I put a little bit more on top just for a rough estimate, just in case. So the only time I actually went to see the property is when I went to get the pictures to talk to the tenants, which I could have sent a buddy of mine that kind of doing that for me as well. I wouldn't call him an employee of mine or a team member of mine. But if I do, hey, go take the pictures here, go take the pictures there, and I don't have to physically go. So I never went to see the property until I went to go meet with the tenants to take pictures, and then I never went back. So I literally, that's kind of, I don't know, a lot or in detail the virtual wholesaling space, but I know that that's the big part of it. You don't go see the seller. You just, get it on the contract and, move it to the buyers in that area. But just for your listeners, exactly. I never want to see this property.
That is awesome. I'm smiling ear from ear because that's the exact point that I try to get across to people, that most sellers, when you're on the phone negotiating with them, I don't know what it is, but most sellers are not going to expect you to want to come look at the house. You can literally lock deals up without even having to see them in person. And I'm so glad that you said that, man, because that is something I always try to get across to people. And I am so happy that you said that, dude. That's awesome.
No, No, and the last deal, because that deal was the one before last. So what I'm telling you, the last deal I did, I never went to go see the property either, and I put it under
Wow.
contract. And the owner was in Texas, because I don't have a problem going out and going to meet the seller and stuff. I don't have a problem with that. But if I don't have to, I don't want to, because it's best just be home sitting down and just being, with my family or whatever it may be, or doing other stuff that I want to do,
Definitely.
investing my money in other things, or whatever it may be. But
Definitely.
that one, I put it under contract. Also, I also put it under contract without going to see the property. The one I have under contract now, I put it under contract without going to see the property. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. I initially was skeptic about it. I initially was tremendously skeptical about it. I used to tell some of my mentors, "How can I build rapport? How can I do all of this? And I haven't even seen the seller. They don't even know me. They don't know how I look. They can't feel the vibe of And then they told me, listen, just do it. Whatever you're gonna tell a seller in person, just tell them over the phone and work it over the phone. Is there a certain level of, when you go meet the seller, maybe it's a little bit better, maybe it's more efficient, but you could still do it over the phone, and it still works as long as you build a rapport and you talk to them and you feel genuine interest in them. And one very, like I just mentioned it before, one very interesting book that can help you with that is that book that I read several times, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's just certain key things in there, like just, for
Wow.
example, saying someone's name continuously as you're talking to them. Those key things, really, because people like to hear their own name. They barely do. So just telling them that, it makes a big difference. So yeah, matter of fact, the last several deals I've done, I haven't seen the property. I haven't put the property under contract going to see it first.
Wow.
I gonna see it afterwards. So just FYI for
That
you.
is awesome, man. That is awesome. And what you said about saying the owner's name frequently, it's crazy because I was live doing cold calls today in my group, and I got in contact with this owner, and he asked me, what is your name? I told him my name's Kenneth. And throughout the phone conversation, the owner was using my name, and that just made me feel like this guy was super professional. He knew exactly what he was talking about, and it just made me feel like he was super friendly and approachable. So that helped me to remember to also use the seller's name too, because that same feeling that I felt with this homeowner using my name is what other homeowners and owners are going to feel when you're using their name. So that's another great thing I'm glad you brought out, man. That's awesome. I was going to ask you, what are some tips, tricks, and advice to give the group, but you shared so much stuff already today, man. That is awesome. That is awesome.
All I can tell you about the tips and tricks is just persevere. Just literally just push through it. I know it sounds cliche. I know a lot of people say it and just push through it and everything. Just push through it. But I'm telling you, it wasn't. A lot of people only see the success at the end of the tunnel, which I don't consider myself successful yet. To the level that I want to be. I want to, like I told you, I want to have a well-oiled machine doing its own thing where I could just literally just look in and make sure things are rolling, and I see the checks and the zeros in the bank account. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm
That's
investing in
awesome.
other things. But when I first started, it was so hard talking to sellers, we're negotiating. I felt like I was gonna drown, and like it was because it was so new and so challenging. Just like when you start a new job somewhere, like when I first started police work, when I was on FTO and field training, when my training officer would tell me, oh, you did this and this and this wrong, I wanted to just drown myself because I thought I was doing things, but I wasn't. But
Yeah.
I kept pushing forward, and my saying to me was, quitting is not an option. That's not an option. That was my saying to me every day. Quitting is not an option. That is not if, and, or maybe, or slow down. No, quitting is not an option. There's no option whatsoever. That's seriously and for sure not an option. And that's how I persevered. Even if I had a bad week, I might, tone it down for a day or two and just relax and try to gather my thoughts and then get right back on it and just continue. And, I went from myself. Now I got a team of people I work with. and just continue. I'm telling you that the only thing you need to do is continue pushing forward, because as you push forward, you will get better, because you will catch things along the way. Listen to these podcasts, looking at these videos or whatever training source that you have or whatever it is. You're gonna get tips and tricks that are gonna make you better and better and better and better. But if you don't persevere and you let it go, or you stop, or you quit, or you know whatever, it's never gonna come. But it's gonna come eventually.
Definitely, man. I want everybody listening to listen to this podcast over and over, because Mario is dropping so many gems for everybody. Everything that he's saying is 100% true, guys. Make sure that you guys listen to this. Take notes if you have to. I would definitely keep a notebook, because everything that he just dropped is 100% true and will definitely help your business. So Mario, I appreciate the conversation, man. Everybody over at Virtual Wholesaling Ninjas appreciate you and what you did for us with this interview, man. Next time I'm in Miami, man, I'm gonna have to stop by, and we'll have to link up and get some coffee or something, dude.
For sure, man. I'm all for it. Let me know anytime. Just hit me up, and I'm always willing to. I was. While in police work and while in corrections, I was always an instructor of some sort. Whether it was firearms or defensive tactics or general being. At one point I became a field training officer. Where I used to train new officers. So I like helping other people and teaching them and letting them know what I know. It's a passion of mine. I always says if I wasn't a cop, I would have been a teacher. But
That's awesome.
wholesaling makes more money, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, man, definitely. And if anybody wanted to reach out to you, what's a good way for them to do that?
You can reach me at my email, which you'll love, by the way. It's gonna be Mario at mywifemakesmebuyhouses.com.
That is awesome, dude. That is awesome.
So yeah, they can reach on me there, and they can even and believe it or not, I might not answer all the time quickly, because I'm always hustling and bustling and doing my thing. But they can even text me. Text me at 561-614-4540. You could text me there anytime if you have a quick question and you want me to answer it for you. I have no problem. So whatever it is, I'm honestly here to help anybody that would like to help or would like to ask a question. It's fine. It's just if I don't reach out to you immediately, just give me some time. I'm in the middle of a million things.
Yeah, man. Mario's closing deals out there, so he is going to be super busy. We appreciate you, man. We're going to go ahead and end this interview. We definitely, again, appreciate everything you're doing, man. Thank you.
Perfect. No, thank you for having me anytime. Just let me know.
All right, man. Thanks.